All right, hello all.
Hello, friends.
Whoa.
We're back. Great Ace Attorney Chronicles 2 tonight, and we are likely, or I am going to be unhinged, and I will not apologize about it. So, I don't know about anyone else.
I'm proud of you.
Good. Quick round of introductions. I am Kels. You'll see me on the screen. I also play Diunosuke Naruhodo, and anytime the bailiff talks, we've cast him as Elmo.
Yes.
So, best character I play.
Hello, everyone. Don't mind me fixing my audio settings in the middle of this, but also, hello, I am Manabingu, your resident voice actor. I usually play prosecution, half the jury, Iris, Sherlock Holmes, who possesses my body every time that I talk. And that's, I think, the biggest ones, yes.
And my name is Lemur. I play... Oh boy, okay. Shisato, the judge, the other half of the jury, our defendant, Gina, and a smattering of other characters that may or may not come up.
You remember Gina again, so the dog theory is currently holding water.
How to get Lemur to care about something. Involve dogs.
Yeah.
End of list. No,
Pretty
that's
much.
not true.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, shall we do some pre-show banter?
Yes, I have a question for us this evening. All right. So, someone has offered you $5,000 a week for the rest of your life.
Okay.
But in order to earn it, you would need to eat at least one meal every day at McDonald's for 10 years, for the next 10 years. Would you take the deal?
So, question.
Yes.
Could it be McDonald's anywhere? So, like, if you move somewhere else, it would have to be that McDonald's, right?
Yes.
And then what happens if you're in a place without McDonald's? Or can you not go to places without McDonald's for the 10 years?
I would assume that you would not be able to, you would still need to consume a meal at McDonald's every day, regardless. So yeah, you would not be able to go.
Well, luckily they're fairly ubiquitous. I think I'd do it. I think I would figure out the McDonald's thing. Probably do a lot of kids meals because I assume that they come with like apple slices. Lemur knows this about me because we went to the Super Mario Cafe together when we went to Super Nintendo World. But I order kids meals so that I can get things like broccoli.
Yes.
So I was so excited
for some reason, adults
broccoli.
don't need vegetables.
Literally, I don't get it. Like it came with broccoli and carrots, and it was nice.
It looked good.
So yeah, I think as long as I can still do the kids meals, and do some substitutions for apple slices, I think I could do that for $5,000 a week.
Yeah. I would say so. How much is this paid in advance? My interpretation of this is that like you would do a week of McDonald's and then you would get like your first $5,000.
Yeah.
And then it would be that for the next 10 years. And then after that, you would just get the $5,000 every week.
Seems logical.
That's my understanding of how that would go. Because it doesn't say anything about you'd have to do the 10 years of McDonald's and then get the money.
Yeah.
But so if you ever broke that, then that just basically ruins your chance of getting any more money.
So really, all you would have to do is eat 7 days worth of McDonald's and you get a free $5,000. So.
Yes. And yes, concur that they are also on my boycott list for the same reason. But.
I mean, look, with $5,000, I can donate a decent amount of that to other causes to offset it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a perfect solution, but I can do other things with that money, right?
Yeah. But yeah, excuse me, to finish off chat's comment though, if I can calculate how much money I need to buy ownership of a franchise so I can divest from more crimes.
There you go.
Yes. When I was first saw this question, well, of course, my brain, like a lot of people who grew up in a certain time period in America, I also had to watch Super Size Me, which is a fucked up movie to make teenagers watch.
Seriously.
But in my brain, it wouldn't be like you'd have to have a burger from McDonald's every time, because to me, I don't necessarily consider that to me, in my brain, I would classify a meal as, I'm not that hungry, so for lunch I'm gonna have milkshakes and a milkshake and fries. So, but to me, that would be how I would justify getting also trying different stuff. So it's I could have fries for lunch today, and that's all I had from McDonald's. That's my one thing from McDonald's. I would say you probably do have to consume a food item. You can't just go buy a $1 Coke and then go on with your day. That I would say does not count.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I have the same thought process. I think I would go for the healthier stuff. I really wouldn't go for always anything unhealthy. So yeah, definitely try to maneuver it in a way to not be that harmful, consumer wise. So yeah, mostly apple slices for me. They have orange juice in there.
Oh, I cannot, I think Lemur and I talked about this. The only thing that I really enjoy from McDonald's is their breakfast. I could have one of those hash browns every single day and I'd be so happy. But everything else, I have no idea what's on their menu. I assume I could figure out meals from it. But I know what a Happy Meal is because I've seen commercials.
Yeah.
I think I know the Japanese menu better than I know the American one. So.
Yeah. And usually if you are in the Japanese McDonald's, they have different collabs and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, plus, it's a pretty seasonal menu. So, Otsukimu was not that long ago, and so they had a burger with a fried egg on it to signify the moon and all of that. So, you at least get some variety.
True.
Excellent.
Would there be a follow-up question?
Okay.
Would there be a different fast food franchise that you would rather take this deal for? Obviously, as we discussed earlier with McDonald's and how they use their money. But is there a different franchise that you would rather, that you think would make this deal better for you?
I'm trying to think of fast food chains because I just generally don't go to fast food very often. Honestly, probably Wendy's. I love those Frosties. Granted, I haven't had one in 5.5 years or something like that, but those, at least in my 5.5-year-old memory, are very tasty. So, if I could get one of those every day and consider that a meal, dessert is a meal, right?
Yeah.
It is to me.
Sometimes lunch is a blizzard. Who knows?
Exactly. Yeah, I think my issue here is that I don't know enough fast food. I just don't eat it.
That's fair.
I guess. I'm trying to think of healthy stuff that I could probably get away with. It could be any restaurant, right?
We're going fast food / fast casual, so not a sit down.
Right, because I was about to be Planet Smoothie. Smoothies are pretty good for you, so why not go for Planet
I would say,
but that's not fast food, right?
There still needs to be an element of it can't just be a drink. There needs to be, and I bet smoothies can count as a breakfast. So that's a gray area. So I'll allow it.
Yippee, Planet Smoothie.
Ooh, Raising Cane's sounds good.
What's that?
But I do have to agree, Wendy's is like, if we're talking fast food restaurants, Wendy's has really good stuff.
So I've never had Raising Cane's. It's chicken.
Oh,
Place, I think. Let me Google it really quick.
okay.
Just to make sure, because we don't have them here.
Yeah.
Yes, chicken.
Zaxby's also has pretty good chicken.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know fast food very much. So,
Yeah, so chicken.
Okay.
Okay,
Makes
that
sense.
sounds good.
I would super love it if we could get a Raising Cane's. We just got our second Chick-fil-A in the area.
Yeah, we have a lot of them here.
We finally have a Jollibee's. Woo!
Do we?
Yeah, we
Neat.
have a Jollibee's
I'm
now.
gonna try Jollibee's.
Well, you have to
So I
come
guess
visit
our
then.
answer is Jollibee's.
Oh, God. In theory, I would love both Raising Cane's and Jollibee.
See,
Never had them.
here's my issue is that like Nando's came to my mind. For those of you who are in the UK, like, or if you don't know anything about it, like Nando's is kind of like a, I don't know exactly what you'd call it, but there's like peri peri chicken and French fries and stuff like that. But the problem is that if you're restricted to things that are to places that it's only in the geographical area, like that really limits where you can go.
Yeah, which is why I think like the original question that I got this from with why they picked McDonald's is because McDonald's is one of the, I don't know if they're the largest franchise in the world.
Yeah.
Like location, but I know they're at least top 5.
Yeah, I think like
Starbucks is up there, too.
the only thing I can think of that might be like more ubiquitous is like Starbucks, which is also on my personal boycott list, but I don't know about anyone else's. So
Yeah, I haven't gone there.
Yes. Yeah, where Starbucks would have also, I mean, yeah, I mean, I have a friend that, we don't talk about it, but she already does this with Starbucks for free, except for, you know, she's just buying it. She's not getting $5,000 a week for it, because all the time. And yeah, we don't.
it's so expensive.
I don't talk
though.
about my Starbucks opinions, and she just does what she wants.
Yeah.
We can't
Honestly,
each other out.
since leaving, well, not leaving, you know what I mean. Since like not getting Starbucks for like ages, I've actually gone to more wonderful boba shops.
Nice.
You know, and that's better, and they have better drinks.
Yeah.
So you know, it's a win. It's a win for me.
Yeah, like my problem with Starbucks, you know, other than business practices, how they're using their money, et cetera, is just I make coffee at home most of the time, so I already kind of don't. It used to be a treat as a, you know, like I would go take myself out for just, you know, something, and it was decently cheap-ish to go out for a breakfast on my own for, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's other things to consider.
Exactly. You know, plus we have so many local things around here that,
But yeah,
you know.
wonderful local coffee shop.
And then you have local places like Dutch Bros that just do shitty things locally, not globally.
Exactly.
That's a different story.
Yeah. But look, I feel like I made my impact on Dutch Bros budget every time I did the birthday circuit when I was living in Oregon. So for those of you who don't have a Dutch Bros near you, on your birthday, Dutch Bros will give you a free drink. Except for the franchises don't talk to each other. So
They do now.
yeah, oh, do they now? You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, so basically what you could have done pre-app, because now they have an app, and you scan the app and it has your birthday in it, and if you scan it again in a different location, so you can get around it, I think. But if they think you have the app, they're gonna make you scan it and be like, oh, you can't actually have this for free. But yeah, no, you could literally, like, I had friends that would go with like a whole carload of people on their birthdays and get like 7 free drinks.
Yeah, everyone in the car gets a drink. It's all free.
It's everybody's birthday. You just had to go to 7 different locations.
Yeah, that used to be a birthday party. Especially in college when I was very broke. Excellent. I need to step away for just a second to grab a blanket because I am freezing and forgot to grab one before stream. But someone want to read the recap while I am out?
Sure. All right. Scroll back up to the top here. Get the rice out of my teeth. I'm so sorry. All right. Here we go. Sholmes explained how the professor had the Hound of the Baskervilles tear out his victims' throats, and he was tried in a closed court so the public doesn't know his identity. He was executed by hanging and then seemingly rose from his grave that night, which Drebber was so shocked that his hair turned white. Gina freaked out and fired her gun, then showed us the lab. There was a quiver of bows and a science trophy on its side, but the stuff is off limits to inspect. Someone escaped from the other side of the locked door and left behind an overturned room with footprints on the ceiling, a safe, rope, balloon, bomb, and burnt-up machine blueprints. Sholmes proposed that the bomb actually reverses gravity, unlike it being, a real bomb, to let escape through the skylight. Or let him escape through the skylight. We fixed this into Drebber. Wait, hold on. We fixed this into Drebber looking for the safe combination on the furniture. A shoe was thrown at a model balloon in lieu of crossbow and left prints. When we poked the balloon, it dropped the missing wax head, which doesn't have recognizable features. Drebber was hiding in the safe. And turned out to be a cyborg with a screw loose. Made me very uncomfortable. He disarmed the bomb, and Scythe arrived to shoo everyone out of, despite Sholmes trying to appeal to their personal familiarity with each other. But there's another bomb that destroyed the real machine. Last time, our Gina Menace count rose to 2, and then begins discussion of the fast food debate.
Excellent. All right. Well, I think we're back in court tonight.
I think so.
Hot apprentice, hot apprentice, hot apprentice.
One track mind.
I'm mostly saying it's not Cosmo because I want to be wrong. But I also don't want to get my hopes up.
Look, I will be so happy if it is Kazuma. I don't even care that we've guessed it, because that man died way too soon. He was too good of a character to have died that early, and I'm still mad at that. So,
Yes, just like Susato.
Yeah.
I want to be skeptical. Jesus. I can't even talk when it's coming out of my own brain. Anyway.
All right, 24th of October, 9:11 a.m. I sat here for a second going, it's already the 24th of October? Jesus Christ, I need a lobotomy. It's fine. I just went back in time like 100 years too. We're fine. We're doing great today. The Old Bailey defendant's antechamber.
Good morning to you, Mr. Naruhodo.
Good morning, Professor. Ready for today's proceedings?
I hope so. I should be, even I, with nothing left to...
Good morning, my dear fellows.
No one asked you. Oh,
it's everyone's favorite.
Mr. Sholmes, you're here. I have to stop us for a second because I've been seeing discourse online that a decent number of people dropped this game because of Sholmes.
Really?
What?
That's crazy.
Don't get me wrong, this man exhausts me. Every single time we come out of one of those deduction back and forths, I feel like I need to sleep for 10 years. But
But they stopped playing because of him?
Apparently, yeah. Which is wild to me because there are other characters in this franchise that are absolutely worse. So like don't let him hear this. I'm gonna block his face out for a second. But I find him more charming than annoying. So don't tell him that, though. His head will inflate.
Oh, I heard
It's
that
already
one.
so big.
I heard that one. I'm so proud of you. Why, naturally, a true gentleman stands shoulder to shoulder with his friends in battle at all times.
Is that why you've
At
been
all
late
times?
to every other court date I think we've ever had?
Yes.
Yeah, like, excuse me,
Yeah.
bitch.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'll see you later then.
My eyes are up here. Anyway.
Now, Professor, we really need you to remain calm in the courtroom today.
This is calm. No, ooh, I got a sneeze stuck in my nose. That might come out later. Yes, do you try your hardest not to enter the witness stand uninvited again? Trying really hard not to sneeze. My dear fellows, I must interject.
I think Sholmes is interrupting again.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
you're good. My dear fellows, I must interject.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense than Hairbrain saying that.
Oh, you're still here, Mr. Sholmes? What's the matter?
Well, I got lonely for 2 seconds because no one was paying attention to me. But actually, surely you overlooked some praise, have you not? To be cast in my direction, hmm?
Because you showed up? I literally just gave you praise less than 5 minutes ago, my dude.
But I'm lonely.
Sorry? I don't follow.
Oh. Must I spell it out for you? I, the great Sherlock Holmes, the greatest detective of worldwide acclamation, arose at some ungodly hour to be here now. First thing in the morning, a miracle, you must agree.
This has the same vibe as whenever I tell my West Coast coworkers that they're lucky I'm up for a 10 a.m. meeting when it's 7 o'clock for them.
Real.
Which I hope that you know I do actually do. Well, if I must agree, then
Oh, as you know, my sleep is quite impregnable. Iris had to employ her full gamut of tactics.
feel like leaving your
Oh.
sleep in the hands of the 10-year-old probably doesn't win parenting awards, but
It's an alarm, my dear fellow. She pulled the covers off, shook me, poked both my cheeks, punched me, and kicked me from the bed. Then she poured a boiling cup of her latest experimental blend on my face, and at last I was bestirred.
Sorry, I'm yelling at my dog. Sit down. Oh my, Iris has been busy.
Iris doesn't have it in her to go that far. She's too nice. She's my child, excuse you.
Yeah, earlier, Sholmes. How did you like my hair braid in It's really good.
Incredible.
Okay, confirmed. Is the weird dancing one. Okay. I sense the spirit of a fellow scientist, one who relishes in the infinite possibilities of blending tea. All right.
I'm the one worthy of praise here, not Iris. This is my victory.
Yes, praise me, not the 10-year-old girl.
My face is the one that scolded.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut in, question mark. Oh, there, okay. It is.
Oh, Inspector Gregson. Good morning.
Gregson, my dear fellow, why the grim expression at this delightfully early hour?
I am so surprised Sholmes doesn't call him Greggy or something, like...
Gregsy. Yeah.
Stupid.
Grigsby.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I've been confronted with a grimmer expression, eh? Oh, dear me. Are you going to take that insult lying down, Professor?
What? What? I don't know.
Poor professor.
Anyway, here's the paperwork you asked for.
What paperwork?
I took the liberty of requesting it yesterday. I have a feeling it may prove useful. You wouldn't believe the hoops I had to jump through to get this brought out of the archives. It's the professor's autopsy report.
That mass murderers?
Who killed 5 members of the aristocracy?
He was found guilty in the closed trial 10 years ago now. It was all done under wraps. He was quickly executed soon after the trial. It's all in here.
All right, we got the killer's autopsy report. I'm sure that Von Zieks is going to be super cool during, this entire thing as we talk about how his older brother died.
Oh yeah, 100%.
100%. He's just going to be real chill.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what to say. Thank you, Inspector.
Yes, much obliged, Gregsy.
We are not going to be praising you.
Yeah, it's lonely not in the yard. I'm just doing what we can. In the shadow of the great Detective Sholmes, of course.
Just think, soon you'll be off in France and don't have to deal with this shit anymore.
That is very true. I love vacations.
Well then, Professor Hairbrain, this is it. Today we're going to lay all this to rest at last. We're on trial number 3. I'm gonna make some bets that we're gonna go to all 3 days of trial. I could be wrong here, but...
Most likely, yeah.
I wish you the best of luck, Professor. I suppose he'll be in there today, will he? Drebber. Yes, we expect the prosecution to summon him as witness. I'm still amazed that you managed to find him in just one day. I really owe you both so much.
Counsel and the defendant! The trial is about to resume. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once. Elmo says it's time to poop.
This is it then. The final chapter. Funny, my heart's racing a little. I've not felt this before, actually. This strange foreboding.
This is feeling so sudden and new.
Damn.
As if something's going to happen in this trial that I'm not ready for. But I can't let that distract me from the only thing that really matters. Finding the truth. Yeah, Your Honor, the Nepenthes is trying to trigger my traumas. 24th of October, 9:30 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. He's there! Guys, he's there!
Shit.
Keep your pants on.
No!
He's like,
Will the
no, they're
defense
coming
keep
up
their
as we speak, Your Honor.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the public hearing of Albert Hairbrain, here present, who stands accused of murder. Are the counsels for the prosecution and defense ready to proceed?
He is so short. I can't tell if he's on a lower step or what, but this is peak don't ever talk to me and my son ever again.
He's sitting down. He might be.
Maybe, I don't know.
I think he's standing.
That's our headcanon. We need a height difference or something for this. Yeah.
Prosecution is ready, my lord.
The defense is too busy making hard eyes at the prosecution's assistant. Thank you. The defense is ready, my lord.
A little preoccupied, sorry, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I spaced out for a sec.
As promised, Lord Von Zieks has his apprentice with him. His apprentice with memory loss that maybe I could cure if I started stripping right here.
Renosuke is like, I blacked back in. What's going on?
Yeah.
If I may, Lord Von Zeeks, who is this child you have with you?
Who's the sassy lost child? Yes, my lord.
There appears to be someone standing.
So confirmed he is standing.
I knew it! No, there appears to be someone standing at your side.
Ah, yes. My apprentice and assistant. The prosecution believes today's proceedings will see the complexity of this case rise considerably.
Oh my god.
Oh my god!
Sir, this
Did you
is
see-
foreplay.
Did you all see that? Did you all
Oh, look at him!
Look at him go. Yes, that is exactly why I hired him. Now you all understand why he needs to be at my side. I need a corkscrew assistant. It needs to be done. It was too much work for me, so I decided to get an assistant.
Look, if your
And
assistant could do nothing but that for the rest of the trial, I think that is what the defense needs to find the truth.
So what you are saying is you'll let me win?
Look, you let him keep doing that, and I'm not going to care about who wins.
Oh, dear.
I will
Anyway.
win in a very different way.
Wow, I am going to try to get through this next sentence. I therefore instructed my assistant to attend to ensure the smooth running of the trial by making my opponent very sweaty.
Yeah, could he come over here? I'm sure I have some things that need assisting.
No, he's my assistant. Mine.
And the smooth running of liquid refreshments by the look of it.
So that's just like, I can pour stuff too!
Yeah.
The way he holds himself, the way he moves. Oh god! Girl! It couldn't be anyone else.
But he's still suffering from amnesia. So there's really nothing we can do at the moment.
Except for kiss him!
Exactly. Like, come on. We can do it in the closet again. Like, come on.
It'll be like old times.
Exactly.
I know, but this is so very hard. Phrasing, Susato. It would appear the prosecution has done a fine job in responding to the demands the court, or the demands of the court made yesterday. Okay. You know when you read something and you're like, that doesn't make sense, and you're like, no, it does. You're just dumb. I understand you have successfully secured the engineer who disappeared from the scene on the day in question.
Are you really going to give the prosecution the credit for that? Because, like, we almost died because fucking Sholmes decided that the bomb was an anti-gravity device. I almost died for this, all for Von Zeeks to get to stroll in here like, yeah, bitches, I did that.
Yes, my lord. I intend to call him as a witness shortly.
Very good, very good. Now then, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, of the jury. Sorry, that scared me.
Who let the dog in the room? Where? Juror number 3, please.
Hey,
Yeah.
stop.
It's just Gina's, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's the dog.
Little
you have been
Toby
chosen-
is developed for his age.
Maverick. First, I don't have anything I can throw at him. That's not going to be an issue for me later. Something about the lady who have definitely been chosen at random
Yeah.
represent the will of the people in the courtroom today. Are you ready and willing to proceed? Was I off
Yeah,
this time?
you were that guy.
Okay. Of course, my lord. I'm sure we all understand the importance of doing our civic duty.
I do so despise deception
Bless you.
and deceit. I find it so very wearing.
As the man right next to her keeps doing fucking magic tricks.
Yes.
I hate deception. How about a dove? I can pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Nice.
You hate deception, but how about this?
Yeah.
Look, my finger is not attached to my hand anymore. To take a man's life with a conjuring trick, it's against the magician's code, not to mention the law.
Any fake scientists should feel the wrath of God if you ask me.
We have to listen to what is said on both sides, the fence, and then settle on one. That's it, isn't it?
How old is she?
I can't even tell anymore.
Not at all.
Wasn't this like this in my day? Wasn't like this at all.
If all parties are ready to proceed, you may begin, Lord Monzeeks.
Before I do, my lord, there is a report I must read to the court.
Okay, is this...
Assistant.
He's
Yesterday,
perfect.
at the... Damn, I'm trying to get through my line.
No.
Yesterday, at the Great Exhibition Grounds, the evidence of primary importance in this case. The super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine, which was installed on the experimentation stage, was deliberately destroyed in an explosion effected by an unknown person or persons.
It was what?
An explosion?
Sir, please put your gun away.
This is an outrage!
Yes. I heard this grave news yesterday. Scotland Yard submitted a report to my office in the evening. I read that the machine was blasted to smithers, and the wreckage reduced to ashes and flames.
Is blasted to smithers a scientific term?
It is now.
I have here a photographic print of the scene taken in the wake of the explosion. It shows what little remains of the machine.
Yes, but it also shows a nice little trap door.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes. A terrible business, rather.
He did it to destroy the evidence, did he?
That Enoch Trevor.
So I'm glad that we did figure out what he destroyed, because again, because he didn't blow us up, he just sat there and hit a button or whatever he did, and then nothing happened in our point of view.
Yeah.
So,
He was just like, ha ha ha, and we're
Yeah.
like, okay,
okay.
sure, great. The court will take this print as evidence, counsel.
All right. We have the post-explosion photograph.
Late yesterday afternoon, the protection afforded to the machine by the Special Dispensation of Scientific Equipment Act was revoked. However, before a thorough investigation could begin, the invention was obliterated from existence.
What were they doing? Like, we left so that they could do their little investigation, if I remember correctly. So, like,
Yeah.
What were they doing the entire time?
Playing badminton.
Yeah.
Anyway, as such, this will become a very different trial. As it stands now, with no evidence on which to draw meaningful conclusions, the authenticity of the kinesis machine will remain forever in obscurity.
I'm just looking at the design on his little wine bottle. I don't ever remember seeing it before.
The little sides.
Yeah, well, like the little dude that has the two axes on it. Maybe I just haven't been looking at it. I don't.
The Grim Reaper bottle.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know
That's
why
cool.
that's like fascinating to me all of a sudden, but
Indeed, a most unfortunate state of affairs.
However, one thing remains clear. Victim's death was the result of the actions of the accused. Or of that we can be certain. For the accused himself was operating the machine who ultimately caused its loss of control.
as Lord Von Zieks rightly says, this is a very different trial now. The accused accepts responsibility for his part in the events that transpired. He acknowledges that Mr. Asman died as a result of the accident caused by his machine's malfunction. However, unbeknownst to the professor, he was being deliberately deceived by a pair of very clever fraudsters.
Names, counsel, if you please.
The engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber, and the victim himself, Mr. Odie Asman. So, what exactly were these two men up to behind the defendant's back? The defense intends to expose that information, thus establishing the unequivocal innocence of the defendant. I did not mean to take a breath right in the middle of that sentence, but it just happened.
Thank you, counsels. The positions of the prosecution and defense have been clearly stated.
We actually got to give an opening statement this time.
I know, it was impressive. Lord Von Zieks, summon your first witness, please.
Did I look cool, assistant Kazumask? Was I sexy?
Very sexy. At once, my lord. The prosecution calls the engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber, to the stand.
All right, let's kick this off. Chet, I think you're on to something. What if the forensics team is in league with Drebber and planted the bomb for him? I assume that the bomb wasn't there last time, or maybe it was and it just didn't go off the entire time. Possibility. But knowing that the forensics team was there, and in theory they did at least some investigation, I would assume that they should have caught the bomb there if it wasn't planted by them.
State your name and occupation for the court. Name, Enoch Drebber. Occupation.
Ugh.
Hard to pin down, I would say.
See that black monocle? Yeah, why do I feel as though I've seen it somewhere before? Oh, you too? I had exactly the same feeling myself.
Your file indicates that you are currently being investigated in connection with another case. A theft of a waxwork model, is it? A most extraordinary sounding business.
He either stole something or committed a murder. It's fine.
Or both.
Yeah, or both.
But that has no bearing on this trial, I assure you. Cleave it from your mind. You're familiar with the public experiment carried out at the Great Exhibition some days ago? The Q's super high voltage instantaneous kinesis demonstration. Yes, you could say that. I am aware of it. There was a terrible accident, wasn't there? It was you, Mr. Drebber, who constructed the vast machine used in the experiment. Or so our investigation indicates. Can you confirm your involvement? Yes, I constructed it, in precise accordance with the blueprints, but that's all. Then the court would be very interested to hear your thoughts about the machine, I'm sure.
No thanks.
That never fails to make me laugh. What the fuck?
An amazing device, if you ask me. The pinnacle of modern science, making instantaneous kinesis a reality at last.
What?
Good gracious, did you mean to say that the experiment was a bona fide?
Mhm.
Is that your belief, sir?
Yes, that is very much my belief. Such a waste that it blew up.
But we've already established the machine was nothing more than a prop for an elaborate conjuring trick.
You've established nothing of the sort.
Stop blocking your hot assistant.
No, I will stand in front of him just to spite you. All that was showing during yesterday's proceedings is that same outcome could have been produced by means of stage trickery. The defense merely proposed a method and demonstrated its feasibility, nothing more.
But I worked so hard on it.
Sure did.
We've procrastinated long enough, I feel. Witness, you will now give your formal testimony about the machine that you constructed for the purposes of the demonstration at the Great Exhibition.
Understood.
All right, witness testimony. First one of the night, the kinesis machine.
I met the young professor approximately 1 year ago, though Mr. Osmond's instruction... He provided me with the blueprints, and I constructed the machine to his precise specifications. It was no trick. If the whole show was a fraud, it would have required a body double. Tell me, did the victim have a twin? All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads, and then crash headfirst into the crystal tower. A terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow.
A body double?
That goes without saying, surely. To give the impression that something has moved, when in reality it hasn't, as basic conjuring. Deception cannot.
Anna, are you having problems with your mic again?
Probably.
I thought I was having a moment. I was like, what's happening?
Thing, everyone. Okay, wait. Yes. I'm going to keep doing this. Anyway. Wait, I have to repeat it, don't I?
Yes.
Okay. The deception cannot be achieved without substituting the original with a fake at some point in the performance. But would I be right in saying you haven't managed to establish anything along those lines?
There has been so much highlighted text, like I'm not sure what is important at the moment.
Yeah.
Right? He's doing it on purpose.
Ugh.
Incidentally, the prosecution has already confirmed that Mr. Asmund has no twin siblings.
Okay, what about a triplet sibling?
That is true. Didn't consider that one.
Gotta think ahead.
It is my understanding that the witness is well versed in conjuring artfulness. But such talents do not indicate that he was actually able to accomplish what he claims. Namely, the construction of what, by all accounts, must have been an extremely complex scientific machine. Excuse me.
Whatever do you mean?
Yesterday's proceedings brought the true nature of your past exploits to light, Mr. Drover.
Indeed it did, my lord. As a swindler who preys on innocent scientists to elicit government grant money through conjuring know-how.
Yes, it's true that I possess considerable knowledge of stage magic. But crucially, my scientific knowledge more than matches that of any academic in the field.
Investigation of the witness's workshop attests to that claim, my lord. As evidence, the police found his Royal Society trophy for young talent in science there.
Okay, anyone can buy themselves a trophy, though.
True.
Yes, that's true. We spotted it there ourselves.
If a hypothesis is sound, it can always be forged into a physical manifestation with sufficient skill. Though I may have sold the secrets of some deceptive wiles to sniveling, talentless scientists in the past.
Would you therefore assert that the explosion of the machine was...
An unfortunate accident, or, of course, a deliberate act of murder carried out by misuse of science?
Counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, please.
Yes, my lord. All right, let's beat him up. All right, the kinesis machine.
I met the young professor approximately 1 year ago, through Mr. Asman's introduction.
So, you were already acquainted with Mr. Asman himself?
Not really. By chance, I'd seen his name mentioned in the papers, that's all. But I had no interest in his private affairs. If he was an unscrumptious investor, it was of no concern of mine. As long as people pay their bills, I take up my tools and construct what they ask for.
So, why did Mr. Asman approach you in particular, then?
Who can say? I presume because my name is associated with excellence in engineering.
The name that everyone, as soon as they heard it in this courtroom, went, that man's a fraud? Not to mention excellence in fraud.
Hard to gauge, but the point is, all I did was construct the machine according to the blueprints I was given. In other words, the kinesis machine was built on solid scientific principles.
Okay, of course he'd say that, though. Like, the
Yes.
man's not gonna be over here saying, yeah, I just fucked it up and killed a man. Sorry.
You might say that.
My bad.
Professor Hairbrain certainly has a mind like no other. You provided me with the blueprint and I constructed the machine to its precise specifications. It was no trick.
It's clear that you have both scientific knowledge and knowledge of conjuring magic, however.
The more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to handle whatever comes along. But your implication is that I furnished the machine with some trickery, I think.
It's a possibility that we have to explore.
Unfortunately, though, the machine has been blown to Kingdom Come.
Yeah, by you.
So there's really nothing left to explore, is there? It appears that the kinesis machine was fitted with a timed explosive device of some kind. Oh, and there's nothing left of that device either. Not a single shred of evidence remain, I hear.
He must have planned all this from the outset.
But in any case, it's abundantly clear that the experiment couldn't have been a trick.
I don't think it is.
If the whole show was a fraud, it would have required a body double. Tell me, did the victim have a twin?
Of course, that's it. Mr. Asman was a twin.
Objection!
Oh my goodness, I can't believe I have to interject with... Perhaps my learned friend wasn't listening earlier. Mr. Osmond has no twin siblings.
Sorry, I was staring at your assistant and stopped listening. No, I heard you before. But the thread of hope hadn't quite left me.
Damn.
The demonstration could have been a trick if there was somebody who looked sufficiently like the victim. But Dr. Scythe absolutely ruled that out as a possibility.
Is it beyond question that the victim is... Well, anyway, I can talk. The victim himself, Mr. Osmond, did move from the stage to the Crystal Tower. The fingerprints found at the scene attest to that fact.
Do we think that the fingerprints just disappear after a certain amount of time? Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Science.
it can't have been orchestrated using someone who looked identical to Mr. Aspen then. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo?
oh, nothing. Making out with hot assistant on this desk with no pants on. Just that the idea of someone who looked identical to the victim is playing on my mind.
All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads, then crash headfirst into the Crystal Tower.
It crashed head first, you say?
According to the many witness reports from those there at the time, yes.
Were you not there at the exhibition grounds on the day?
Unlikely. I rarely leave my workshop.
What do you mean unlikely? Do you not know where you were?
It's kind of a yes or no question, bud.
Yet another of your unique inventions was found at the scene.
Oh, so that's where it's been.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
It went out for the milk and it never came back.
well, it was the unveiling of a machine I'd labored over for so many months.
Yeah, so I brought my favorite crossbow.
I saw it clearly with my own eyes, the birdcage plummeting headfirst into the tower.
What a surprise.
I believe the victim's neck was broken from the headlong fall, wasn't it?
How would you have come by that information?
Even an infernal recluse like me reads the newspapers, you know. And sometimes I land in them. According to the reports, 2 injuries were apparent on the victim's body.
Yes, he'd been stabbed in the chest by a screwdriver believed to belong to the defendant. We know that the screwdriver belongs to the defendant at this point. It's his best friend.
Named Andrew.
And he had broken vertebra as a result from a fall from a considerable height.
Correct. My learned friend has been doing his research, it seems.
Yeah, I do that when I'm not listening. Do we know which injury was the fatal one?
Sadly, not.
What do we have a medical examiner for?
Forensic science is not yet at the level where such things can be determined.
What does she do? Does she, like, bring leeches to things? Are we in that era? Like, what exactly is forensic science at this point?
What do we know is the victim died having sustained both injuries at some point during the experiment. And since he was found in the bed... Sorry, I was fixing my audio. It's obvious he fell from the considerable height.
I suppose that's hard to deny.
Terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somewhere.
So, you understood the science, did you?
Not in the slightest.
Oh. Right.
As I've said a number of times, I'm an engineer. My job is to manufacture according to the blueprints I'm given. I would be inviting manifold problems if I foolishly allowed my brain to digest the ideas behind them. I could be accused of stealing those ideas, for example.
But how is it possible to construct a machine without really understanding the principles it relies on?
Well, you're practicing law without really understanding the principles it relies on, aren't you?
Bitch. A very good point.
I win.
Stand up for yourself, Mr. Naruhodo.
Point is, the experiment resulted in instantaneous kinesis taking place. As such, the science must be sound. Yes, and really, experimental results are all that matters when it comes to proving a hypothesis.
Exactly. We have all the understanding of the law we need right here. Sisato. He's
Real.
certainly very sure of himself.
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, now that the machine has been completely destroyed by yesterday's explosion, it's going to be impossible to argue its authenticity one way or the other.
But if we were unable to establish that it was a piece of the stage trickery rather than genuine science, we will have no grounds on which to demonstrate Professor Harebrain's innocence.
Both Mr. Assman and this man in the stand tricked the professor and used him. They took advantage of his naivety and his unbending belief in his work, and I won't let them get away with it. And seeing as the professor is an old friend of Lord Von Zieg's, what on earth must he be feeling towards Drebber? Alright, let's look really quick at our evidence, because I've already forgotten what we have. My armband. We have the newspaper. Talks about Hot Apprentice and the dude next to him. We have the sketch of the experiment. We have the piece of the balloon. We have a crossbow. The photograph of the victim that shows the stab wound. The autopsy report done by Courtney Scythe. The screwdriver. We have the photograph of the balloon that Gotts took. We have the photograph of Drebber from 10 years ago. We have the bird cage. We have the piece of glass. We have the camera. We have a science trophy. The waxwork head. The killer's autopsy report. Okay, so the condemned prisoner was someone redacted for confidentiality. Pseudonym, the professor. Death by hanging confirmed at midnight, 17th of June. Done by Courtney Stevens. Think she maybe got a name change sometime. Also, this is the only page in this. The fuck did Gregson have to fight so hard for? There's like nothing here.
Yeah.
And then we have
really
the
hard. Here's this. You're like, great. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you.
Do you have Eleanor's file or do you have a cactus?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, he provided me with the blueprints. Okay. The whole show was a fraud. It would have required a body double. Tell me, did the victim have a twin? I mean, we have wax dummies here.
Yeah, it's gotta be the...
And we have the piece of broken glass that we know is from the Crystal Tower. Is this where I need to crash headfirst into the Crystal Tower? Gonna save here because I'm taking a stab in the dark. We're starting off really good here.
Yeah.
Okay, did the victim have a twin? Have a piece of glass. That was not it. The defense is objecting, and he's overruling. The defense would accept the penalty given. All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads and then crash headfirst into the crystal tower. That is correct. Terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow. Well, according to every single scientist that we've ever talked to, yes, it was flawed. But I don't think I have any evidence of that. And I can't present profiles, so... We inspect the camera? We inspected the camera. It's empty. I remember that. Alright. Okay, he met the young professor a year ago. I don't have any evidence for that. Provided with the blueprints and constructed the machine to his precise specifications. It was no trick. We don't have the blueprints. We can't call his bluff on that. If the whole show was a fraud, it would have required a body double. Did the victim have a twin? No, but he possibly had a waxwork. There was the waxwork of the professor. I don't know. All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads and crash headfirst into the crystal tower. Yeah, that makes sense. Terrible accident. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow. Yes, but I'm stupid. So I don't think I can prove that. Okay, this is the first question. Someone want to cheat? Because we're already down a point.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
What case is this? Great Purpose.
Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Appears to be from the crystal tower. Okay. I mean, why can't the waxworks look less real so we can sit there and go, well, look, it's wax. Although I assume that the coroner probably would have caught that. In theory.
Weird.
We're on day 2 of trial.
Yeah. I just was jumping a lot further. And there we go. Before the trial, okay, cross-examining. Okay. So, cross-examining Enoch Drebber.
Mm-hmm.
Testified that Aspen introduced him to Hairbrand a year ago.
Yep. Yeah, Gregson let slip that he was giving the file to the foreign lawyer, and Scotland Yard immediately made it more difficult. I wouldn't put it past them.
Okay, wait. Okay, somewhere there.
You watching a video or something?
No, it doesn't. Previous walkthroughs that I've seen are a little bit more structured for finding things quickly. One of his things switched. Everyone saw the top of the cage break through the crystal tower head first. It was an axe. Yeah, because normally it's like, present this. Because what are we trying to break down? What's the statement?
I mean, I don't know which statement it is. It's either this body double one or the science one, but I don't know which. That's my guess, at least.
Royal Science Award was proof that Trevor was a legitimate scientist at some point. Trevor was claiming the explosion was neither accident or that Hairbrain used his theory to kill his volunteer. Naruhodo and Susato found a crack in the bottom of the cage and present it.
What statement? Oh, crash head first. I get it.
Objection.
Yeah, see, in like previous, well, I'm gonna try to find a better walkthrough, but previous walkthroughs would be like statement.
Yeah.
This is what you do, and this was just a bunch of paragraphs, so that's why I was not.
We've examined the birdcage that crashed into the crystal tower ourselves. As you can see, the cage, which is a wooden construction, has sustained damage in one particular spot.
Following the explosion, it fell some 30 feet into the glass of the crystal tower. That level of damage is to be expected, surely.
I agree. The damage itself is entirely understandable. What doesn't make sense is the location of that damage. All the breakages in the wood are at the base of the birdcage, not the top.
What are you saying?
That's the opposite of where they should be.
That's right, my lord. The birdcage that was at the scene is damaged at its base. So, we have reports of the birdcage falling headlong into the crystal tower, yet the damage is at the bottom. The only way to reconcile these two facts is to accept that there were two bird cages in play that day, which were at some point switched. Switched during what wasn't a scientific experiment at all, but an elaborate piece of stage trickery.
Oh.
Glad that was highlighted.
Ah.
Good gracious, explain yourself, witness.
Well, if we examine the facts, there is only one logical conclusion we can draw. The damage on the base of the birdcage clearly indicates that it crashed tail first into the tower.
But multiple witness reports claim that it fell head first.
The birdcage materialized in the sky next to a balloon flying over the stage following a spontaneous explosion at an altitude of some 60 feet above ground level.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay. I'll take Susato then. Which is approximately 18 meters.
And it then proceeded to fall some 30 feet into the crystal tower at the ensuing defragration. Witness reports amid such chaos are notoriously unreliable.
But the victim's neck was broken.
Objection.
He plummeted 30 feet inside a heavy wooden cage. However he fell, it would be unsurprising to find one or two of his vertebrae crushed.
Okay. Yeah, Von Zeke's just trying to gaslight us in court.
Gaslight, gatekeeping, and girl bossing.
Exactly.
A riveting scientific analysis of events from the prosecution there. Though to be even more rigorous, you would have to say it was only one vertebra, actually.
He wasn't quiet for long.
I find it hard to see what's motivating Lord Von Zeeks. This witness is clearly a swindler and one who deceived a personal friend of his.
If you're going to establish this deception, do it right.
Sorry?
I feel like that's the undertone here.
Ah, yes. And there's one more point the defense appears to have forgotten. It obviously wasn't a trick, as a certain truth was very plainly demonstrated.
What?
Oh yeah, that's Lemur.
Oh, sorry. It seems to me that the cross-examination had better continue until we resolve this matter. Mr. Drebber, you will amend your testimony with details of this truth.
Of course, we must treat the matter scientifically, after all.
I nearly had him there.
I like to do the robot.
I know, that's what I was thinking.
The kinesis clearly took place because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from.
Hold it!
What do you mean?
Well, before the demonstration began, the victim was alive on stage in front of the audience.
Yes. There are lots of witnesses who saw Mr. Aspen on the experimentation stage, that's true.
And the victim's neck broke as a result of an impact following a fall. Logically, therefore, the victim must have fallen from somewhere.
He's perfect.
Wow. He just gave me a scroll, damn
I
it.
don't care.
The balloon that exploded was at an altitude of 6 feet. The point of impact on the tower was 30 feet up. That difference of 30 feet is therefore the total distance the birdcage fell. And there's no other location which the birdcage could have fallen that distance if it didn't drop out of the sky. Ergo, victim himself must have been beamed from the stage into the sky above the crystal tower.
A trenchant scientific analysis. Dear me, every time I hear it explained, it sounds increasingly plausible.
Oh yes. It's all very well thought out.
Certainly all the spectators on the day saw it. The birdcage plummeting 30 feet through the air, I mean.
Irritatingly, yes.
A terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow.
Okay, well, here's my thought. There's a hole in the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's 30 feet or not.
He could have fallen from there.
Exactly. Like, if it's from down, like the damage is down, he would have fallen down. He wouldn't have fallen heads up, so
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna try it. I don't have any other options here.
Objection!
Nope, not that. Surely something about that last statement seems odd, but the judge now wants to deport me.
No. Guess said. Yes. Chat said, "What about the balloon?"
What about the balloon?
Yeah. What about the balloon?
I don't know if my brain just isn't firing on all cylinders tonight or what.
Drebber, I tied a cat to one of the cage, ensuring it landed on its feet.
There you go. That's the whole
That makes sense. You know what? I think chat solved it. Pretty sure that's what it is.
thing.
What a banger.
There's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. Seriously, am I just
The
stupid
balloon?
today?
Oh, that's what they meant by the balloon? It could have fallen from the balloon?
But then it got beamed up there, then. Which we're trying to prove that it didn't, because instantaneous kinesis doesn't actually exist, right?
Right. Oh shit. Okay. 30 feet from the balloon to the tower, says chat.
I think I've already saved, but that's okay. I mean, isn't that what they're claiming? Is that it beamed into the balloon, and that's why the balloon thing exploded, and
There are
are so many issues with this. I don't know what the place to start is. I'm going to Google it. It's fine. Let's see. I have to find her. Let's see. So, walk through. Like you would think. My brain would be working better. But maybe it's not.
Like, you already said all of the answers that I thought of.
Yeah, that's just it. Like,
I any other possibility. But I also don't want us to die. So.
Objection.
it's stupid because I think we could argue it both ways. I think I'm in the right direction.
Yeah.
We just apparently have to demonstrate it with the sketch first. This is a diagram of the experimentation stage and its surroundings. We know that somehow the birdcage appeared in midair before falling down into the crystal tower. A fall of about 30 feet, or 9 meters. However, if you examine the diagram carefully, you'll see that there's one other possible location from which the birdcage could have fallen. The same distance of 30 feet. Yes.
No.
Well, it appears the defense has a possible explanation to put forward. Go ahead, counsel. Yes, my lord. Of course. You will indicate the place to which you are referring to on this same diagram. The alternative location from which the birdcage could have possibly fallen the requisite 30 feet.
Take that!
If it has fallen from here, the birdcage would have plummeted the same 30-foot distance.
Objection.
If that's my learned friend's claim, I suggest he demonstrates for the court, personally.
Well, fuck you, huh? Oh my god. Am I not correct? Did I hit the wrong place? I feel like I've hit the deck from 30 feet up. Jesus Christ, we're not doing so well today. Okay.
Oh shit.
Okay, we're gonna try this once more. No, it just is very picky. The place I'm referring to is here. But that's where the birdcage would have been to begin with. Which is exactly the point, my lord. Yes, the birdcage was in the machine on the stage. But what we must also consider is the height of the stage itself. Go on, counsel. It turns out that the experimentation stage was built at a considerable height above ground level. If you look at the diagram, in fact, you'll see it's at about the same height above the ground as the balloon was above the crash site. When the experiment got underway, the machine and the birdcage were engulfed in steam. At that moment, the floor of the stage gave way, and, if we assume there to be a void underneath, this birdcage and the one seen by the audience would have fallen almost exactly the same distance. Shocking everyone with my intellect after getting like 8 things wrong. Once again, my lord, this all points to the fact that there was not one birdcage, but 2.
Objection.
Object all you like, bitch.
My learned friend has no evidence that the stage had such a contrivance in its design.
Someone is responsible for the criminal destruction of the kinesis machine itself, it's true. However, the stage still stands. And take a moment to look at the photographic print of the scene following yesterday's explosion. Good lord! The metal grill that formed the floor of the machine is undone. Yes, most likely blown open by the force of the explosion that destroyed the rest of the machine. The defense calls for the space below the stage to be investigated immediately.
Oh, you just outed yourself, bitch.
Yeah. Mr. Drebber, it was you who built the kinesis machine, which means that it was you who built the 2 bird cages that were used to carry out this deception. Whether Professor Harebrain's hypothesis is sound or not makes no difference, because it's the construction of this machine that matters. A machine designed to take Mr. Assman's life. And lay the blame firmly at the professor's door. Something that could have only been carried out by you, Mr. Enoch Drebber. I don't like that. Lovely. That looked normal.
That was creepy. Hollow chalice, please.
Ah, look at his skill with that sword.
If my learned friend has reached the end of this wild assertion. Oh, look at that sword. Very nice. The
I have a sword you could look at.
would like to crush the defense's argument slowly but surely, the way he wants to be crushed by my assistant.
What?
Your argument fails to hold water on 2 counts.
2?
Firstly, before and after the experiment, the witness went nowhere near the kinesis machine. Every relevant member of staff from exhibition has attested to that.
And I believe members of Scotland Yard have also been on watch duty at every public experiment. Yes, but they also missed the bomb that exploded the machine.
Mm-hmm.
So, can we really believe any of them?
Yep. In other words, Mr. Drebber had no opportunity to switch the alleged pair of bird cages.
But I've already explained why he wouldn't have needed to.
The nonsense with the crossbow. That doesn't bolster your case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed into the tower are one and the same. The forensic investigation team's report is unequivocal to that point. And the second flaw in your assertion,
how dare you,
is a distinct lack of motive. Why would this man have wanted to take the victim's life? He had no reason to do so.
Von Zeeks, neither you nor I know this man on the stand. Like, you have no idea if he's got a motive. I have no idea if he's got a motive. Like, come on. A motive? Do I have to think of everything myself?
Yes.
I have to do everything around here.
I have here a contract provided by the witness.
What contract is this, Lord Von Zeeks?
The contract into which Mr. Drebber entered with the victim, Mr. Assman. It reads, Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income.
30%? Certainly very favorable contractual conditions.
But there was one very important provision bolted onto that clause.
What provision?
Mr. Drebber may only uphold his right on one condition, that both contracting parties are alive.
That's a weird thing to just put into a contract.
That's weird. In other words, if either of us were to die, the contract would become null and void. So you see, I had nothing to gain from Mr. Assman's death. The diametric opposite, in fact.
Need I say more? The witness had neither an opportunity nor a reason to commit the alleged crime. In short, the possibility of Mr. Drebber having done as you suggested is nil.
Ah.
I love winning.
Just gonna sit here and cry for a bit. That's fine. It seems the defense's assertion was somewhat wide of the mark. Okay, he didn't counter anything that I actually said. He just said, but wait, what about this? So, fuck you.
We're still winning, son.
Lord Von Zieks, you will submit the contract as evidence, please. All right, we have a contract. It's true. If Drebber had no opportunities to switch the birdcage under the stage with the one in the Crystal Tower, he couldn't have done it. And in any case, I have no idea what his motive might have been. There is one aspect of your argument that still holds true, however. There were 2 bird cages. The prosecution is unable to deny that. Oh. So I'm sure you're on the right lines, Mr. Naruhodo. And I've no doubt that there are other aspects of your assertion that are undeniable truths too. Well, it would seem that the defense has no rejoinder to offer. My dude, we're just chatting over here. Give me a break, Your Honor, my lord.
Well, I must say I'm a little surprised. I came to testify about the machine I built, and instead my reputation is defiled.
To be fair, you didn't have much of a reputation to begin with, so...
But the prosecution's counter has set the record straight, I think. It's impossible that I'm the culprit.
At the beginning of this trial, we believed that there was only 1 birdcage. Yet now we know that there must have been 2. In other words, there was more to the demonstration than we realized at first. I think it's abundantly clear that the same applies to the culprit.
Get to the point.
The stage demonstration was constructed and set up in its entirety by you, Mr. Drebber. Therefore, it's inconceivable that you had no hand in the events that transpired. Oh, he looked mad. Those are some eyebrows. So if circumstances mean it's impossible that you could have carried out the crime yourself, it points to the fact that someone else was involved. Someone else? Counsel, are you suggesting... Yes, my lord. Mr. Drebber had an accomplice.
Objection!
We're trying to prove that 1 person did it, and now we're like, you know what? No, 2 people were involved. This is going to go over well.
2. An accomplice now. Well then, I presume. You're prepared for what's to come.
Absolutely fucking not, but thank you.
Now that you're accusing not only this witness, but someone else of the most serious of crimes.
Deceiving the government?
If these accusations turn out to be false, then make no mistake. The prosecution will demand an equally serious punishment for your slander.
Why do you care about this dude? We've said way worse before.
Oh, yeah.
Well, counsel, do you intend to pursue this course and formally accuse another party of involvement in this matter?
I have this galaxy brain theory that Aspen's not actually dead. Like, I know we have a dead body, but we just have the coroner telling us that's who it is. So, what if he's the accomplice?
That would be cray-cray.
And we already know that someone has come back to life before because the professor has possibly come back to life. And maybe he's, like, blackmailing Drebber since Drebber saw the last... I don't know. I don't fully know. The galaxy brain theory's not there yet, but it's getting there.
It's getting there, yeah.
It's coming. Sure. So, what do I do here?
At the moment, this is little more than a hunch on my part. I don't know for sure if Drebber had an accomplice, or even if he really is the culprit here. One way or another, though, I have to make my position clear. As a lawyer. So what's my stance going to be? Did Drebber have an accomplice, or not?
Mm-hmm. He had to.
Can we name him, though?
Courtney Scythe.
You think so? I mean,
Mhm.
technically, yeah. I mean, if the dead body isn't actually dead, then there had to be some sort of accomplice stuff.
Mhm.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. The defense is ready to name Mr. Drebber's accomplice. Okay, Neonosuke, can we, like, not go into this as, dramatic? Can we, like, ease into this? Like, I'm ready to name his accomplice, but first, let me give you a 6-paragraph essay on snails.
Yes.
So you'll be less excited to hear who the accomplice is.
They're like, ooh, snails, damn.
Exactly. Somehow the 2 bird cages must have been switched. Everything points to that. Yet according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. But that inconsistency itself is a clue. Counsel? My lord? You have received a stark warning already. If you are nevertheless determined, then I must now ask you to identify this alleged accomplice by name. So, your answer, please. Who do you claim to have been Mr. Drebber's accomplice? We are saving. We're like 3 questions into the trial. I'm also going to look it up just to make sure that I'm not going to
Lose another
fuck it
life.
up. Yeah.
To me, it's Courtney Scythe because they just named coroner on his last sentence.
Yeah. We're gonna go with it. The name of the person in question is... Oh, this is gonna go over really well in this courtroom, too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Okay.
What's wrong, my Nipponese friend? Surely fear doesn't bind your tongue now. It's a little late for that.
Well, believe it or not, timing has never been my strong suit. Of course I'm afraid. After all, naming her in this capacity is definitely going to make waves. A lot of waves. I could very well turn every single person in this courtroom against me. I'm sure it'll be all right, Mr. Naruhodo. See, I'll have everyone turn against me but Susato, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I have 1,000 fans, Susato's there. If I have 1 fan, Susato's there. If I have no fans, Susato's dead. So,
Right.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back.
Hey, welcome back.
So sorry, everybody.
You're all right. Thank you, Miss Susato. Okay, so what did you miss?
So much.
Well, we're like down half our life points already because I got ahead of myself.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, so basically, we named, let's see, where's the last time that you were here? So, we did the bird cage. It has damage
Yes.
to the base, right? Everyone's
Yes.
saying that it fell from head first, so why isn't there damage to the top, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
we are now postulating that there's 2 bird cages.
Yes.
Then, because of that, then the prosecution went, okay, but the bird cage still fell, right?
Yeah.
With the victim in there. There's nowhere else from 30 feet that it could have fallen from, which we so geniusly postulated, and this is where I went wrong. We have the hole in the ground here,
Yeah.
which we were supposed to present the diagram, and I presented the hole in the ground thinking, you know, maybe we could do the logic without having to actually spell it out.
Yeah.
So, our current theory is that Enoch Drebber actually fell from the machine straight down.
Oh.
The thing is that Drebber supposedly says he kind of had no clue that that was even a thing, except for the fact that he's the one who built the machine, right?
Yeah.
Prosecution then decided to say, well, that doesn't make any sense because we have this contract between Asman and Drebber
So the investor hereby enters into contract with the provider to fund labor and materials for the construction of a super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. But Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remuneration from government grants or other income. But Mr. Drebber may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive.
Oh.
So therefore, he'd have no motive to kill Asman, right?
Yeah, okay.
So we then despaired for a little bit before Sato pointed out, hey, we still have our 2 birdcage idea. So we decided to go with, okay, so if there were 2 bird cages and Drebber couldn't get to them to swap them out at the crime scene, then there has to be an accomplice.
Yes.
Which we just accused Courtney Scythe, the medical examiner, of being the accomplice.
Perfect.
So, and now everyone and their mother is probably going to turn on us, but Susato believes in us, so everything's okay.
Excellent. Okay.
So,
I even know where we're at in the walkthrough, so we're doing great.
Perfect.
Doing great, team. The enemy always appears larger than life, but you will appear exactly the same to the enemy.
All right, then, here goes.
You've kept us waiting long enough. Your answer, Council, now.
The person who colluded with Mr. Drebber in order to carry out this wicked crime is Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. Courtney Scythe.
What? What in the blazes are you talking about? Dr. Scythe?
The head of the forensic investigation team and the coroner who conducted the autopsy on the victim.
Tee-hee. We know there were 2 bird cages, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? The accident happened in front of a huge crowd of spectators, and the area was immediately sealed off. Then everyone, police officers included, were banished to make way for the forensic investigation team. When else could this switch have occurred? It can only have been in that team's presence. It's essential that the court determines exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Dr. Scythe be summoned to the witness stand at once to testify.
That girl's just still eating corn.
You got a nerve, lad. Standing up there, dragging the yard's name through the mud.
I didn't mean to...
I know the woman very well. There's no better dead room worker out there. How dare you call her a criminal?
Okay, can everyone stop hitting the desk? It's making me feel like I made a mistake.
But you didn't.
My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than the East End at night.
You go partying out there very often, Fonziques. You know how that goes.
Damn. Being called out in my courtroom.
Yeah.
But the recklessness of your accusation aside, there's another grave problem with your argument,
I don't like it.
on which the prosecution demands you address at once.
Okay, if you're gonna demand things of me, can your hot assistant do it at least?
No.
Boo!
A grave problem.
Oh my word.
Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger?
What?
Certainly if the birdcage containing the body of the victim was exchanged for another, that cage must have also contained a body. Which is what I've been
And
saying.
yet, no missing persons or accidental deaths of anyone even remotely resembling the victim have been reported. Which means there was no one dead or alive who could have fulfilled the role of a body double for Mr. Asman.
Chat is asking, how old is Scythe and how old is Drebber? So, let's find out. Okay. Courtney Scythe is 39, Enoch Drebber is 35. So 4 years difference between them.
Okay.
That's true. If my argument is that there were 2 bird cages, then there also must have been 1 person inside each. But I don't know if I've gotten an answer to this yet, have I? What can I do to reveal how this body double stunt was achieved? I mean, I can't name someone, because it's not a someone.
Mm-hmm. It's a wax.
I have one wax head that is the professor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how convincing that evidence is going to be. Like, here.
Should we look it up anyway?
Yeah,
It is.
it is the wax head.
No, that's what I thought. Yeah, there's no other possibility.
Yeah, no, present waxwork head.
Let's do it. Very well. The defense will address my learned friend's concerns by presenting evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Asman's body double.
Good gracious. Evidence? I do hope this isn't filibustering, counsel. The court is expecting a name.
If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now.
Well, what the fuck did you think I was going to do, my dude?
Stare at my hot assistant again.
Well, it happens, you know, he's pretty. The body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witnesses would have only seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of that explosion some 18 meters above the spectators? Aha! Glad I said that out loud, not in my head. The body double inside the second birdcage was...
Take that!
We know that the victim, Mr. Asman, was in the birdcage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage. And therefore, he couldn't have been inside the second birdcage. Instead, that contains something else. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the crystal tower. I am talking like I'm trying to hit the word count on an essay. Please let me recap the events of the case that we have literally just talked about.
Yes, counsel, according to your somewhat elaborate versions of events.
And that body double inside the second birdcage was, in fact...
It's alright, Mr. Naruhodo. You definitely you're ready for this. Good lord.
Can you hold my hand under the bench? I'm scared.
Just steel yourself and come out with it.
I miss the cocaine that I used to do at the bench. Thank you, Miss Susato. I needed that. But I was serious. Please hold my hand. As I was saying, the body double inside the second birdcage was as unbelievable as it may seem. That thing there. Why did we bring it to court?
What the hell?
Oh.
Gross.
Objection!
Is he just staring at us like we're stupid now?
Yes.
I have several questions. First of all, who the hell brought that thing into court, and how did I not notice it in the middle of the room just now? And number 2, open your eyes and look into mine, Miney Pony's friend.
Are you jealous because I keep staring at your hot assistant? Like, I don't need to look at you.
Yes, I am.
I was imagining us making out.
Now tell me. What are you playing at?
Stand firm now, Ryonosuke. This is the time to show your Japanese spirit. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model. A model, in fact, of an infamous London murderer from 10 years ago, the Professor.
Objection!
You started by indicting the leader of the forensic investigation team as the accomplice in this crime.
I know, we're going an odd direction. I'm aware.
Now, you've moved to indicting Waxworks?
I mean, if you want to call it an accomplice, like, yeah, sure. Yes. That's about the size of it.
Wow, but why? Why this waxwork? It looks nothing like the victim. In fact, it could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give?
If you want to know why, ask Mr. Drebber.
What?
Just days before Professor Harebrain performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drummer abducted this model from Madame Tussbell's.
Did you just say abducted?
And 2 days after the incident at the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum.
Then the timing.
Is this true, Mr. Drebber?
At first, I couldn't see why Mr. Drebber would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back again. But now, the reason is clear. He took it so that he could put it inside the second birdcage as a body double for Mr. Assman. Macarena.
Objection.
Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? That the witness fabricated this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist. What he did is so in collusion with the country's finest coroner, in a public stage in front of a vast audience.
You're making me sound so smart.
And that to effect the deception, used a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Are we really to believe this far-fetched tale? What do you decide?
Why is it that every time you start losing, you start talking to the jury?
I need my people.
Wait.
My peeps.
Yes, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible.
My lord.
If you quote me directly, it sounds nuts.
Exactly. Like, do you have to put it that way? I know that's how I put it, but
I need to speak, if you please. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement.
Oh god. It's probably not looking good for us.
the defense
Very.
needs a mental examination.
Very good. In that case, ladies and gentlemen, the jury, will you state your leanings for the court to hear now?
Guilty.
What the fuck?
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty!
Kill me.
We didn't
Who's the
even
oldest
win over
you?
a corn girl.
Ew.
Well,
Fuck.
I think it's time to invoke the holy law that
Yep.
they keep forgetting they have on the books because only I exploit it.
Yes.
Yep.
So, as indicated by the foreman, the jury has reached a consensus.
I knew that was going to happen.
We shall get through this, Mr. Naruhodo. We always do. And uncover some new truths along the way, I'm quite sure.
Yes, I agree. I'm going to have to appeal to the jurors as usual and see if I can persuade them to change their minds.
The defense will now embark on a summation examination.
I love how we don't even have to ask anymore. The judge is like,
Yep.
oh, I know that fucker's going to do that.
Are you and your fellows ready to proceed, Mr. Foreman? We are, my lord. Very well. In that case, I ask you to now state clearly for all present here the grounds on which each of you has decided that the defendant is guilty of the crime in which he is charged.
Yeah, the fact that the waxwork head is unrecognizable is very likely what screwed us over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just sounds very implausible. I think
the problem isn't necessarily that. I think it was how we had to present it. Because I think if we'd managed to, like, drag it out a little bit more, it might have seemed more plausible so we could build it up in between. But we literally went from, you know what? There's 2 bird cages. They dropped one of them through the floor. Also, like, there's this wax dummy in here that was in one of them. Yeah. We're good. Okay, the jury's contentions.
I've known that woman for years. She'd never been an accomplice to anything.
It's utter nonsense to think that those 2 would ever be convening with one another.
Oh dear, this is most
Conniving.
troubling. But surely the waxwork the man stole is nothing to do with the coroner, is it?
I've had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much.
Okay, that doesn't have anything to do with what we just talked about, but okay.
Yeah, what the fuck? I've seen no rigorous proof that this waxwork was ever inside the bird cage. It's conjecture.
Accusing someone without right evidence? It's not a proper job, Izzy. I won't have it. Somewhat unsurprisingly, it seems the introduction of this waxwork model to the proceedings has polarized opinion.
Given that its face is obscured and its built in no way resembles that of the victim, I can only applaud my learned friend's temerity at suggesting it as Mr. Asvin's bunk. No.
Yeah, well, some of us have balls, so.
Hello?
Yes, the applause is deafening. And yes, I know it seems extraordinary. But that's the point. That's why I have a strong feeling it's actually a greater clue than anyone yet realizes. It sounds insane, therefore it must mean something.
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo?
I can't explain why at the moment, but I feel as though there's a specific reason why it was used. Why it had to be this model.
Really? A reason why nothing else would do, you mean?
Yes, and I'm convinced it's something far more significant than whether or not the model looked like the victim.
Well, if that's the case, we must prevent the trial from ending prematurely at all costs.
Yes, agreed. I have to find a way out of this.
If you're ready, counsel, you may proceed with the summation examination.
Yes, my lord.
Alright. With Chinosuke on my shoulder, I ride into the night. The defense's rebuttal.
I've known that woman for years. She's never been an accomplice to anything.
What were you about to say, Lemur?
It's 9:00/midnight,
Okay.
by the way.
We will finish this up and then end here. The order of things seems to have changed around here for some reason. Am I really going to point this out?
I'm a copper, lad. It's a copper's discretion to bend the rules sometimes when he must. What's wrong with that?
Where do I start?
I've been working at the yard for 40-odd years.
That's even more than I thought. You look great for your age, sir.
We've only had a metropolitan police service in town for 70 years, you know. Of course, times have changed. The public didn't trust coppers back then when I started. It was rough. We had to fight crime. We had to fight to win the public's trust as well. And when we did, forensic science was in its infancy too, even more than it is now, as she spearheaded that revolution.
Dr. Scythe, you mean?
That's right. About 10 years ago now it was. When I was still a youngish bobby at the beat. That's when she started making a name for herself as a top-class coroner. And now look at her. Head of the forensic investigation team, and a woman no less. Well, you won't hear me complain. And what we all dreamt of back then, I tell you.
Would you tell me without holding that gun in the air?
No. We were all out to uphold justice, lad. Full of vim. We were full of vim.
That's coming across loud and clear.
It's utter nonsense to think these two would ever be conniving with one another.
But we're only just starting to understand this case. What are you reading there, sir?
The man behind those murders on Solar Pond Street was caught 2 days flat. That's real policing for you.
That's really not relevant to this case, is it?
You're wrong there. Because it was Dr. Scythe in charge of examining the bodies. And it was evidence arising from her work that led to the arrest of the scoundrel responsible.
Oh, I still don't see how that's relevant.
That's right. Oh, that woman is the forefront of this country's fight against crime. The idea that she's somehow involved in this murky business is a load of old tosh.
I thought it was up to me to press the jurors, not the other way around.
Oh dear, this is most troubling, but surely the waxwork the man stole is nothing to do with the coroner, is it?
Why would you assume that?
Well, quite simply because that unsettling swindler has no relationship with the woman, does he?
True. As it stands, we don't know any of the connection.
Oh my gosh. But it would be delightfully romantic if they were somehow to have mutual interest in the waxwork.
Romantic?
Oh, it's all in my fanfic, you see.
Yeah.
A woman of society such as myself views everything in terms of relationships, you know.
Well, you
I
learn
ship
something
it.
new every day. Even if you don't
a
want
ship.
to. She would love Archive of Our Own.
Oh, I would. Very, very much. One might wonder about a possible relationship between the defendant and this coroner woman. Or perhaps between the defendant and the handsome prosecutor just there. Ooh.
This woman may be more astute than I've been giving her credit for.
Still working. No. Sorry. If that's the woman's stance, then perhaps demonstrating some connection between the waxwork and Dr. Scythe would be enough.
Yes, I agree. As soon as we have even a whiff of a connection, she'll be the first to know.
I've had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much.
What sort of problems?
Let's just say we've had run into each other on numerous occasions while I've been performing on the street.
Right, I see. Stripper routines?
Hello?
Obviously, artists such as myself cannot appear on stage as we work in close proximity to our audiences. So we perform our great magic in parks, on street corners, and the like.
Not in my day.
Back in my day.
Let's press him!
Excuse me.
Back in my day.
Do you have something to say in response to that, Mr. Ottermole?
Lol, she ships Hannah Zeeks. Anyway.
Who are you calling a mass murderer?
Sorry, my mistake. I got confused because I heard you look like him.
Ah, you look like it, man. You want to be locked up, sonny?
Thanks, Mr. Sholmes. Perhaps we could move on. I was really wondering if you had something you wanted to add in response to what juror number 3 just said. And clearly, you do.
He's waving the gun.
Back in my day, back in the good old days, it wasn't like this.
What was it like, sir?
We worked our fingers to the bone to earn the public's trust, we did. By Jove, we earned it. People respected us back then.
respected you.
No one would have called a coroner into question in them days. A coroner's report was the hallmark of an investigation done right, especially when Dr. Courtney Stevens put her name on it. She was the best of the best.
Hold on a minute. What are you talking about? Who's Courtney Stevens?
Oh, sorry. Got a bit carried away there.
Stevens is Dr. Scythe's maiden name.
Her maiden name. So that was before she was married.
Of course, yes. Silly me. It's Scythe now, isn't it?
Stevens. I'm sure I've seen that name somewhere recently.
Anyway, the point is, those were the great days of policing, not like now.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. But do you think you could change your statement to include that name?
Oh yes, I don't see why not. She was Courtney Stevens back then, when I knew of her, of course, a legendary coroner even then.
She was legendary, was she?
What did you say?
Uh...
That woman is still the best coroner in the land, head of the forensics investigation team.
I immediately regret asking this question. Legendary was your description, sir, not mine.
Rubbish! That would never pass my lips.
Do we have court reporters here?
I'd never describe anybody that way, ever. Not if they were still in the game.
I think the point you're trying to make is that Dr. Scythe is an extremely talented coroner. Would that be fair?
It would. If it were for the fact that you're trying to drag that legendary woman's reputation through the mud.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that legendary. Alright.
I don't know.
Oh, sorry?
No, that's why I was going to read it, then I realized it's like, oh wait, no.
Alright, back to jury number 4.
I've seen rigorous proof that this waxwork wasn't ever inside the birdcage. It's conjecture.
But you claimed the whole instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a trick.
Oh, that I did. But there's more than one way to pull a rabbit out of a hat, isn't there?
Sorry?
I'll grant you, given that cage appeared from amidst an explosion, there have been no need to use a real person. But if a waxwork had been used, the culprit could at least have the decency to make it look like the victim.
I'm not sure exactly how much criminals are governed by decency.
The point is, if you're going to make a claim about that waxwork being inside the birdcage, you need to give us some evidence. Without that, it's not science.
Well, I'd love to give you evidence, but we're not in that part of the trial. You all decided to give your verdict before we got to that part of the trial.
I suppose we should expect nothing less than a logical argument from a fellow of the Royal Society. But that perhaps means that his mind could be changed if we manage to present suitable evidence.
Evidence that the Professor Waxwork was inside that birdcage. Can I produce that or not? I do have evidence of that, actually. Actually, I have something I'd like you to see, sir.
Oh. I must warn you that I firmly believe it's only wise to trust men in white coats. So, given your jet black outfit, I don't mind admitting to a sense of trepidation here.
Hey, assistant, I was going to say your cloak would look great on my bedroom floor, but can I borrow it for a second?
Jesus.
So, you don't trust anyone in black? Looking in the mirror must be very trying. I do have some evidence that proves the waxwork was inside that birdcage. Namely...
Yes.
Take that!
What's that? A piece of glass? Oh, it's unusually thick for glass.
Yes, it's a piece of broken glass that we found inside the jacket on the waxwork. As you say, it's not ordinary glass, though. It's very thick and clearly made for extra strength. much like the special glass that was developed for the construction of the Crystal Tower. Exactly. The centerpiece of the Great Exhibition, where the very incident we're talking about took place. On the day in question, the birdcage fell from above and smashed through a window of that special glass.
From whence this small piece of originated, is that it?
Precisely. So, what do you say? Now that clear evidence in support of the assertion has been placed before you.
Well, as I said, I only trust men in white coats as a rule. However, when the reasoning is sound, it's fair to say color shouldn't come into it. In light of what you've shown me here, yes, I feel obliged to change my position on the matter.
He's going to work on racism next, apparently.
Oh.
In that case, juror number 4, will you amend your statement now, please?
The presence of that piece of glass leaves me in a little doubt that the waxwork was indeed inside the birdcage.
We're going to press him just in case he sets off someone else. Thank you for reconsidering your position, sir.
Your words are misplaced, boy. My opinion is governed by logic and science and nothing else. Yes, science is where you should direct your words of gratitude.
Okay.
What's the matter with you? Too good to say some words of thanks to the mother of all academic subjects?
What is it about scientists, honestly?
Accusing someone without right evidence is not proper job, I see. I won't have it.
Hold it!
I've got to ask, why have you brought that corn into court with you? Is this really the time?
Not the time, bro.
She got snacks. Colonel Cobb, he's been growing back on the farm. Picked him off on me way into town. He's a proper nibbler, he is.
Yes, the nibbling seems to be taking quite a while. Maybe it could wait until after the trial?
Oh, I don't like the sound of that. You need colonels at times like these. Whenever I... Oh my god. This is not the time of night for this bullshit. Whenever I have something big to decide, the colonels always point me in the right direction, see?
You're talking about your cob of corn?
Nibble, nobble, guilty bobble, nibble, not, guilty out. Nibble, nobble, guilty bobble, nibble, not guilty out.
Oh my god.
Times 2.
I keep saying it.
She's just going.
Just going. Wow, what the fuck? Is that Morse code for something?
Perhaps it's akin to fortune telling with flower petals, like people do back home.
So Professor Harebrain's fate is to be decided by a cob of corn. Could you not at least wait until we've had more time to find the truth before deciding on the defendant's guilt?
Oh, I don't know about that. Beatum's awfully full already.
Amazing.
No.
I
That
know.
one hurt me.
I know it seems a little far-fetched to think that the waxwork model of the professor was in that birdcage, but on the other hand, it explains a lot.
If there really is a reason why that particular waxwork had to be used as Mr. Aspen's double, we must do everything we can to make the jurors understand it.
The truth is, I'm sure that's the key to this, but it's the most puzzling part of it, too.
In that case, you should see what additional information you can glean whilst trying to change the jurors' minds. You can read a book whilst eating a rice cracker, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sure you can do this.
Right. Yeah. Alright, what do we got here? Okay, so she was a legendary coroner back then, who we know worked on the professor case.
It's utter nonsense to think that those two would ever be conniving with each other. Surely the waxwork... Oh, we have evidence of this now. Is it pitting these two against each other?
That's
2 and 6.
yes.
Objection.
Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
In the walkthrough, it had us do that, pit them against each other after, before we talked to other jurors. So
That's fair.
That's what I was like, wait, where? Good gracious. To whose statements do you refer, counsel?
So, juror number 2.
Oh gosh, me? What can I do for you?
I
Besides shit.
I presume that you heard what juror number 6 said in his statement. It's brought to light the maiden name of the coroner, Dr. Scythe, which in turn has revealed a connection that wasn't apparent before.
Well, naturally, as a woman of society, I find such connections and relationships irresistible.
Girl, if you'd only been born like 100 years later, you could have fan fiction.
But, oh golly, I'm afraid I fail to see what you mean.
Dr. Scythe's maiden name is Stevens, and through that name, the coroner is very definitely linked to the waxwork of the killer. The defense has evidence to prove it.
My goodness, evidence, you say? Oh, how utterly enthralling.
Counsel, the court cannot overlook that last remark. I very much hope there is substance to your claim.
Yeah, because you bitches keep asking me if I have evidence every time I say I have evidence. I've learned I have to actually have evidence. Like, fine.
Of course, my lord, I would ask the court to look at this. The evidence that clearly links Dr. Scythe to the mass murderer known as the Professor.
I'm assuming we're talking about the autopsy report.
Yep.
Take that.
I have here a certain autopsy report from 10 years ago.
A 10-year-old autopsy report. What relevance does that have?
It is, of course, from the autopsy of the person portrayed in the waxwork, the killer known as the Professor.
The professor's... But the man was a capital offender, so...
That's right. This is the certification of death that was drawn up after the convict's execution. The identity of the killer was never made public, so the report gives few details. But what's important is the name of the coroner who wrote it. Courtney Stevens.
Oh my, Courtney Stevens?
Drugaloy!
It appears that the professor's autopsy was conducted by Dr. Scythe 10 years ago. And a few days ago, Mr. Drebber very deliberately stole the waxwork of the professor from Madame Tuspel's. A waxwork that doesn't in fact resemble the victim, Mr. Asman, at all.
And do you suppose there's some unsavory relationship between those events?
Absolutely. I'm sure of it. There's no doubt in my mind that the professor case is at the heart of a link that we have yet to uncover. Between Dr. Courtney Scythe and Mr. Enoch Drebber.
Oh, I ship it. Oh my gosh, the hidden links, mysterious connections, secret relationships. Oh, this is almost extraordinary. Hell yeah! I'm changing it right now. I love it. We're surely obliged now to explore this further, please. I'm desperate.
Why, thank you, madam.
Shipping.
Quite right. You can't say no to crazy fangirls, so we can't let this trial come to an end now. Oh, there's a cloud of suspicion hanging over the yacht's best coroner. It wasn't like this in my day, but we're here to uphold justice. Indian. I'm with Shipper Lady.
Woo!
I'm with her.
Oh, it's the professor. That's what links this frightful swindler and the coroner.
Okay, so now we have other problems.
Would you like me to tell you?
Yes, please.
Pit 4 and 5 together.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. He's talking about how we have evidence, and she's talking about how we don't.
Objection.
Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious. To whose statements do you refer, counsel?
If you could put down your corn for a moment, juror number 5.
Oh, you mean me?
You've pointed out that it's wrong to make an accusation without evidence. But the accusation that the waxwork model was inside the second birdcage on the day in question is not without supporting evidence, as the defense demonstrated to the juror sitting beside you.
Oh, is that right?
Would it be fair to say you didn't follow the argument?
I don't understand much besides Colonel Cobb, to be honest.
Love this jury of your peers. Of course you don't.
If I could interject here.
Please do, sir.
Now that this assertion of yours is about the waxwork has been backed up by some solid evidence, it would be wrong of me as a man of science not to pursue the matter further. So let's have it.
Thank you, sir.
That was easy.
Alright, well, me too then.
Sorry? Don't ask questions, just let her do it.
If this Brady gentleman says he's right, then he must be. I wouldn't dream of going against Colonel Cobb or anyone who's got stuff in between the ears. Oh, okay.
Wow.
I'm not gonna argue.
Nope.
Sure.
Success. If you can call it that.
Literally, she literally is, I'm just here for the food.
Yeah. And you know
Yeah.
what? I respect that, but also how long can you sit there and eat the same cob of corn? Corn cob?
Yes.
Part of cool.
Thank you, counsel. That will do. As a result of the summation examination, the jury's overall leaning has changed.
Yay.
2 jurors now call guilty against 4 who call not guilty. Accordingly, the court has failed to reach a consensus at this time,
Yay.
and the trial must continue.
Yay. We did it.
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Another wonderful victory.
I wonder if she's juror number 5 because she's 5 years old. No.
There you go. All right, and I think this is a good place to end.
It is.
All right,
Fine.
next stream is what day is today?
Today's Tuesday.
So next stream is Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. Anyone got any announcements?
I guess I can finally break NDA. Whee! Okay. I was just announced as one of the special guests at Anime Week in Atlanta. So I will be performing my very first out-of-state concert at Anime Week in Atlanta in December. So yeah, I can't wait to be part of that Idol Fest. Come see me if you guys are in the area. I can't wait to perform for a new crowd. And yeah, this is so very exciting.
Yay.
And also, if you saw our Twitter retweet a certain VTuber, you may want to take a look at them too, maybe. Maybe. Perhaps. Mayhaps.
Perfect. Lemur, you got anything?
Nope.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out. We'll be back on Thursday. And as a reminder, we have the YouTube channel. You can go catch up on any of our stuff, including all of the horror games we've played, because it is now spooky month. So, thanks for hanging out. Have a good night, all. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.